The Saints have made a franchise-altering change in naming Tyler Shough QB1 in New Orleans. All right, this is Trizzy Trace, the Trizzler. Love him like a brother, okay? Now, Trace is high on Tyler Shough, all right? So I want to hear what he's got to say about the decision.
The Saints have made a franchise-altering change. Tyler Shough is officially the QB1 in New Orleans. We're going to give you my full reaction and break this down in great detail here on Saints Now by Chat Sports, but I want to hear from you. Do you agree with the move to name Tyler Shough QB1? Just give me a simple Y for yes or an N for no. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and let's have this conversation.
So, I mean, real quick, I think I think franchise altering is a lot. I think that's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a lot on Tyler Shough. You know, if it was, I mean, I don't know if that's just a crazy. I mean, like to say like Jackson Dart is a franchise altering quarterback in New York. It's like, I mean, you know, we'll see if he's good, see if he's okay. Like Justin Herbert isn't a franchise-altering quarterback with the Chargers, not yet, right? Like he's good, but is he franchise-altering? Like, you know, this guy did just lose the quarterback battle to Spencer Rattler like 2 months ago. We got a lot to do. Okay, let's start with just okay. Let's start with just hopefully he can be okay.
Tried telling y'all that a QB change could be coming very, very soon. We made multiple videos about it, and every time we get in the comment section, I see people saying, Drizzy, you're just pushing an agenda. You don't know what you're watching. Look at this fat, bearded guy with the podcast. I guess let anybody just talk on YouTube. Well, here we are. Never wrong, just early. The Moore and Shuck era has officially begun in New Orleans. Ian Rappaport was the first to break it down and announce this information. The future is now. Tyler Shough is officially the starter. Spencer Rattler will be benched. He had a fairly nice year, in my opinion. It wasn't all doom and gloom, but when you look at Spencer Rattler as a whole, I think this was a decision that just quite frankly needed to be made, and it was inevitable that this decision would be made.
I think after the Bears game, I think it was inevitable. I think it was a win, not if, they were going to make a change. And then the Bucs game happened, which was the worst thing possible for Spencer Rattler. It was not, like, again, if the Saints would have been losing 35-33, 35-28, you know, whatever, the offense existed, the change wouldn't have happened like this. But 16 points per game, 1-7, something had to switch. Something had to change. You had to move something around, right? And when you have a second round, 40th overall rookie quarterback, that's going to be your first go at this thing. So it you know, it was time for a move. I was surprised that it came against the Rams as far as like announcing like, all right, he's going to be the starter against the Rams. But I think the idea is, hey man, get your feet wet. You know, get out there, try some things, fail, whatever, on the road, and then go into a bye. So, you know, the Rams and the Panthers games are kind of like hey, trial and error games where, especially the Rams, you know, you're going out there, not expected to keep it close, go out there, let it rip. Carolina, you got a game under your belt, see what you can do. Then you get a bye, reset. What have you learned? You're 2 weeks in, take the bye, and then Atlanta at home. So, I mean, it's definitely more of a gutsy way to do this. It's definitely less like coddling. It's less of like protecting them. And if you don't, I mean, whatever. Like they're NFL players. They don't have to be protected. But this is definitely more of a just throw him in the deep end and hope he can swim. And not even just hope he can swim, but hope he can survive. You know, any negativity or any just whatever happens the first couple of weeks. Hope he could just make it through that. And then get to the bye week.
Saints went on some crazy win streak that we realistically all knew never really would have happened. Now, why would you make this change now? I mean, there's a handful of reasons. One being...
yeah, the last 8 quarters. That was the reason. I mean, straight up. That was the reason. The reason was the last 8 quarters were that bad. Like the Bears game and the Bucks game were that bad that it just something had to change. So that's really the reason. I mean, the Bucks specifically, they did not cross the 30 until garbage time. The 30. It's not like we didn't score. It's not like, oh, well, we just never got, we got the red zone, got stopped, whatever. The 30. I mean, that is offensive futility to the nth degree. And that's in the 8th game of the season. Like, this isn't week 1 of the preseason. This is 8 games in. You don't get past the 30 at home.
You got to give your quarterback the ability to prepare for this next game against the Rams. And why didn't you wait until the bye? Well, I think Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler and Kellen Moore, I think the offense just needed a spark. Between those three, they haven't been getting it done with the offense. It's been underproductive. It hasn't been good enough. They struggle finishing drives. They're unorganized. And over the last few weeks, it's started to come unraveled for Spencer Rattler, where is Tyler Shough. He took over in the 3rd quarter of the last game, but now he's going to have the entire week to prepare with the starting squad, to install the offense, install the game plan, work on that chemistry with your receivers, and work with the running backs, work with the offensive line, not from a scout team perspective, but from a starter. And I will say, if making this change now, you can also say, when you get to the end of the season, you got a fair evaluation of both players. And
I think you're also being honest with your team. And again, give Kellen Moore credit. We're like, let's say Kellen Moore knows he's going to go to Shuck at the bye. And in his mindset, he might be thinking, well, if I know I'm going to go to Shuck in the bye, if I know I'm going to do that then, I might as well do it now. And I might as well not try and dance around the fact that I might as well not try and trick my team or lead them on that this isn't coming. I might as well just do it. And sometimes just ripping the Band-Aid off and doing the decision now or whatever, sometimes that's the move. So that might be it too. Or if he knew, like, hey, it's probably going to go to the bye week, whatever, then it's like, well, why not do it now? Like, what is the reason not to do it now? If you know that that's the plan. And then if you look at it through that lens, it's like, all right, yeah, do it now.
Obviously, Spencer Rattler had his run last year. It did not go well. Obviously, in year 2, it was much better. And remember, this is a QB competition that was really between 2 guys, but Jake Haener was also in this QB competition.
He was not.
In the summer, but Rattler was named QB1. We all knew Shuck would eventually be QB2. I think that this is going to give you a fair assessment of both quarterbacks. Barring anything crazy, there's an injury, Kellen Moore decides to go back on his word of flip-flopping quarterbacks, I think that we will see Tyler Shough be the QB1 for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I mean, the same rules apply to Shuck. The only way he isn't the quarterback for the future is if he implodes. And if he has 8 quarters where he turns the ball over 6 times or whatever, then they'll go back to Rattler. Just like Rattler would have been the quarterback until he imploded. Or up until the bye, probably. But so that's where Shuck's at. And I asked this question before, but I wonder what the reaction will be if Shuck's next 8 games are what we just saw from Rattler's last 8 games. I wonder what, or even like, you could have him differently. Like, let's say he has 1 good game, then 1 bad game, then 1 good game, then 1 bad game, and then the rest are good. Like, whatever. But I wonder if it is the same, what the reaction will be. The only thing he cannot do is implode. He cannot have 2 games or 8 quarters or whatever like Spencer Rattler just did. Not even 8 quarters. He cannot have 6 quarters like Spencer Rattler just did.
And at least until we have another quarterback in the mix, he is your starter for the foreseeable future. Now, we're going to be live here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. Saints versus Rams. We go live every single game day. But this one's going to be a little bit different. There's going to be some new energy in the air. Tyler Shough's debut will be on Sunday. So make sure you subscribe and join us live here on the channel. The game is at like 3:05. We're going to go live at 2 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you turn on your notifications, subscribe, and let's watch Shough's debut with the New Orleans Saints. Now, Spencer Rattler, I want to give him some credit here. Going back to the tape this year, again, it hasn't been all that bad, but it also hasn't been that great. I mean, over the last couple of games, I believe it's 6 turnovers in 6 quarters. Like, That's just not good football. And for the first few weeks, I want to give him a lot of credit. He was protecting the football well. He's using his legs very effectively. He was showing that he had the ability to compete and keep his team in these games.
It is kind of funny. Like once Rattler, once he got out of the running is really what hurt him. Once he stopped running and once they started pushing the ball and taking chances and whatever, it just unraveled. And that's when we saw the turnovers. That's when we saw the fumbles. That's when we saw all that stuff. And when he was running, moving the chains, getting 30, 40 yards, 10-yard runs, all of that, protecting the football, keeping everything tight, it was like, well, I mean, this is okay. This is pretty good. But, man, once it unraveled, it unraveled.
But at the end of the day, Spencer Rattler just wasn't getting it done, and I think that we know what he is. And I don't want this to come off disrespectful. I don't want this to be rude, but I think that he is just a high-end QB2 or a low-end QB1. And that's okay.
Now, see, this is where I do have kind of a pushback on this because we still don't know long-term what Spencer Rattler is. And that, I mean, we have too many cases of that where like the Jets could have said, we know what Sam Darnold is. We know what Geno Smith is, right? And they don't. Like, you never know. You never really know what the long-term evaluation or the long-term whatever is for a quarterback. Instead, what it should say is, we know what this Saints offense is right now with Spencer Rattler. We don't know what it is right now with Tyler Shough. And in 8 games, at the end of this season, we won't know what Tyler Shough is. We won't know if Tyler Shough is a high-end quarterback 2, low-end quarterback 1, a high-end quarterback 1, whatever. And it flips the other way too. We have no clue what Cam Ward is long term. We have no clue what Jackson Dart is long term. We have no clue what CJ Stroud even is. Do you know what CJ Stroud is? Is Stroud a franchise quarterback? Is he a high-end quarterback 1? Is he a low-end quarterback 1? Is he where is he at? I think you could have people who answer for all 3 of those. I think you would hear people say CJ Stroud is a franchise quarterback. You would also hear people say CJ Stroud is a high-end quarterback 1. You would also hear people say CJ Stroud is a low-end quarterback 1. We just don't know. All right. So this is a bit of a disservice to, whether it's Rattler or Shuck or whoever. You don't really know long-term what these guys are in 10 games, 8 games, 11 games, whatever. Unless, of course, it's just a complete, unless it's just an obvious situation where, like, hey, this guy cannot play the game.
Okay, that's totally fine. And I want to read a really, really cool tweet. We don't have a graphic for this, Lopez, so that's okay. But I want to give a really cool, props to Spencer Rattler. Nick Underhill shared on Twitter. I ran down Spencer Rattler in the hall on Sunday after he did media and asked him why did he decide to stand on the stage and answer questions instead of dipping out of the locker room without answering questions. His response is, you've got to be a pro, right? Handle it the right way. Adversity is real, especially at this level. You just kind of have to take it on the chin, move on, and you can't hang your head. I do think that Spencer Rattler is going to be handling this like a professional. I cannot say that I'm disappointed in how he's handling this. I really do think that there is value in having him around. Maybe that value is that he is a guaranteed quality backup quarterback. And if that's the case, there is a role for him in this league. And there is a role for him on this team. But at the end of the day, right here, right now, this is Tyler Shough's offense. This is Tyler Shough's team. And the Kellen Moore and Tyler Shough era has officially begun.
I mean, remember, I'm not saying this will happen, but remember, Spencer Rattler could be starting in 2 weeks. Like, let's not close the book on anything. Let's not open the book or close the book on anything. We really do have to take this thing like week by week, quarter by quarter. It is not, nothing is for sure. For any of the players, this is as rebuilding a rebuild situation as you can possibly get. Like, it is as fluid as it gets. It is as changing as it gets. We're talking a lot about Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough right now. We could be talking about Dante Moore in a couple of months, right? We could be talking about whoever as our wide receiver 1. And every hour, You never know. It's like every hour I'm expecting to see Rashid Shaheed traded, Chris Olave traded, DeMario Davis traded. We have no clue. All right. So when you're in this like rebuilding world like we are, things move fast. And, we got to make videos, we got to do content, we got to do all that stuff. But the Tyler Shough era, the Spencer Rattler era, the whatever era could look a whole lot like the Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell era, which then could look like the Geno Smith era, which then could be a different era. So don't get as caught up in the, like, I remember job interviews, they used to ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And then COVID happened. And I remember I started answering that question in job interviews very differently. I started saying, like, I think if there's one thing COVID taught us, or that whole thing taught us, was that looking at where are you in 5 years, like how in the world could you know? And that's true in just life. I mean, even when you look at like how fast like AI and stuff like that's moving, like how could you possibly guess what anything is going to look like in 5 years? And it's kind of like that with sports too, where who the hell knows? Who knows? When you're dealing with the variables that the Saints are dealing with, rookie head coach, totally unknown at quarterback, all that stuff, looking a year into the future, 2 years into the future, all that, even with college football, we're so early into this season. I mean, do y'all remember it wasn't too long ago that we were tanking for Arch Manning? Do y'all remember it wasn't too long ago Drew Rattler was a top 10 pick? Do y'all remember it wasn't too long ago that LSU was going to win the national championship and Garrett Nussmeier was the second overall pick? Wasn't too long ago, right? And now, just like that, James Franklin's fired. Drew Rattler isn't even a first rounder. Is Garrett Nussmeier a first rounder? Lenore Sellers might come back to South Carolina. Brian Kelly gets fired. Cade Klubnik, LOL. I mean, like, all of a sudden, Fernando Mendoza is the first overall pick. What? What's going on here?
Now, we're going to talk more about this QB change here in just one moment, but I'm super excited to tell y'all guys about a brand new sponsor here at Chat Sports. If you want to click the link in the comments or description of this video,
Naturals?
You can use
Bubs Naturals sounds like a website you do not want to go on your work computer. Jesus. Trizzy. I know you got to pay the bills, brother, but Bubs Naturals? I mean, does it not sound like a magazine that you would, I mean, you know, what the hell? It would definitely have the, like, black plastic wrap on it at Books A Million. Y'all remember that? For y'all that grew up in the 80s or 90s, like at bookstores, they used to have the magazines, the questionable content, like wrapped up in the you can't see through the plastic wrap. Bubs Naturals would definitely be on that shelf.
Code chat at checkout for Bubs Naturals to get yourself some new stuff. Whether you like it or not, you are getting older.
Collagen peptides. Damn, I would not have guessed that.
I think that this is a move that makes sense. Like I genuinely believe that this was something that was inevitably going to happen. Down to the depths of my core, I wanted Spencer Rattler to succeed. I wanted him to be the guy. I wanted it to work out. But when Kellen Moore drafted a quarterback in general, not just 40th overall, but when he drafted a quarterback, he immediately became his guy. And I'm not saying that Spencer Rattler never had an opportunity. He did get an opportunity. Last year, he was thrown into the Wolves in a pretty shitty situation. This year, he is also in a fairly shitty situation, but it's still not going that great. There's been flashes, got to give him credit, but we have to figure out what we have in Tyler Shough. It's time to turn the page. It's time to go into the next phase of this rebuild. And that next phase is starting Tyler Shough. And there's a lot of things that you can sit here and criticize about him, but I think that there's a lot more strength to his game. He has a prototypical NFL size, 6'5", 219 pounds. He tested well at the combine. His speed is really nice. He has a flexible arm. He has a nice release. One of the things that I really, really liked about him too is that he can move his arm. The flexibility to be able to throw at different angles is something that I value. Remember?
All right, look. I mean, look, if you go to Big Bubs Naturals and get that collagen peptide, maybe one day you'll have a big and flexible arm. Who the hell knows? But here's the deal. None of this matters. Like, again, I try and take a step back and I try and pretend like we're talking about a different quarterback situation. Like, put yourself in the situation of the Pittsburgh Steelers a few years ago. They drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round, and they turned to Pickett. And, like, imagine the Kenny Pickett, what was it? The Steelers make a franchise-altering change. Kenny Pickett's positives. And then imagine, like, what they talked about then. And then, like, first-round pick. This is their guy. This is a new era in Steelers football. Like, looking back, it's like, oh, that would all sound kind of crazy, right? And that's how this is. He's a second-round pick. He's the 40th overall pick. The team is 1-7. Rattler was whatever. The offense is averaging 16 points per game. We just going to have to see. Bottom line. And then next week, we'll have to see against the Panthers. And then the next week's a bye week. And then the next week, we'll see against the Falcons. That's it. It's not franchise changing. It's not Hall of Fame. It's not next Drew Brees. It's not big flexible arms. It's not Bub's Naturals. It's a second-round pick for arguably the worst team in the NFL. Let's see what he can do. And if he's not good, we're going to be watching a lot of college football. That's where we're at. And, I keep trying to temper these expectations because I'm really trying to protect Tyler Shough. Is really what I'm doing. Good guy, fair and balanced. That's what I'm all about. But if Shuck's going to get a fair shake at this thing, then we got to kind of realize the situation that everyone's in. This is however many games he plays this season, it's a tryout. And it's for the Saints to explore and get information moving forward. This is not the same as the Giants playing Jackson Dart. This is not the same as the Titans playing Cam Ward. Because Cam Ward is going to be the Tennessee Titans starting quarterback next year. Jackson Dart is going to be the New York Giants starting quarterback next year. Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, who the hell knows? Now, on one hand, that's a good thing for the Saints. It's a positive that the Saints had that flexibility. It's a positive that they're not locked into something. So, we got to remember that as well. We got to remember that that's where we're at and that's what we're doing. And I think if we phrase it the right way and look at it the right way, then it'll be the best for Tyler Shough and or Spencer Rattler, whoever plays.
Literally this past game, literally the most recent game, Spencer Rattler's trying to hit Foster Moreau on the flat, and instead of throwing it sidearm to try to get it around the Bucs defender, he throws it right here. Bucs guy jumps up, tips it off. Credit where it's due, makes a hell of a play, and then gets the pick six. Like, I think that's something that Tyler Shough could help alleviate. He also has accuracy at all three levels. He has nice touch on the ball. He has nice feel in the pocket. And I do think that he does a good job of limiting the mistakes. Spencer Rattler, it felt like we were either seeing checkdowns, fumbles, or throwaways. It really didn't feel like there was a lot of great football being played with him at the quarterback position. Players were dropping passes. Maybe that's on the receivers. Maybe it's on the quarterback. I really don't know who to blame in that regard.
It's definitely not on the quarterback. I mean, a drop pass that hits you in the hands, that's not on the quarterback. And we saw a lot of that. And look, like a lot of the stuff that he's talking about is like, look, Shuck's already been drafted. We know all that stuff. We know why he got drafted. We know now it's time to see. And that's kind of what I'm saying in this video is that at this point now you just see. Now you just see what it is. You see how it plays out, and you go from there. Like all of the traits and we know what he is. We know what he's got. We know what Rattler's got as far as like the traits and the reason they're on the team. You can say the same for all these players. But now it's time to play. Now it's time to show up. I mean, I could go through same trait kind of tree for Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed and all these players, but bottom line is they got to play on Sundays.
But I am a believer. The ball hits you in the hands, catch the damn rock.
Yeah.
That being said, maybe when you have a different quarterback out there who has a little bit more touch, has a little bit more feel, can hit that accuracy a little bit better, has the better size, has the ability to throw from various different angles, maybe, just maybe, that is something that can work out. Now,
that's crazy. Like that, the different touch and all that stuff going to alleviate some of the drops and fumbles. Like that's
QB options were always this. You had three options. Door number one, You open the door, Spencer Rattler, he's your QB1. And that's the guy you ride off into the sunset with. He's your franchise QB. Boom. That's clearly not happening. That door is shut. Door number 2.
Well, that part's not true. It's not shut. Like, and this goes for both. Like this is, that's what I was saying. This is a long, fluid situation. If Tyler Shough struggles and they go back to Rattler, that doesn't mean the door is shut on Shuck. That doesn't mean that Rattler's the franchise. That doesn't mean they're not taking a pick. Like, everything is open. All the doors are open. Everything is on the table. And it's going to be on the table probably for the entire season. And just like we saw with Rattler, like, yeah, 4-game stretch is cool. 6-game stretch, okay. Like, it's all different. Shuck, same thing. What happens in the Rams game will be what it is, but then you got Carolina, then you got the bye, then you got Atlanta, then you got the rest of the schedule. So it's just going to be a week-by-week kind of thing, but there's a chance, right, that Rattler looked okay, they go to Shuck, Shuck could look okay, and then they could take a quarterback first overall. There's a chance that Rattler played, looked okay, got benched, Shuck could play, look okay, go back to Rattler, then they could take a quarterback. Like, there's so many different options. So many different options this thing could go. There's even a door 4. The door 4 is you take a quarterback in the second round again, and that's your guy. And like, who the hell knows? There's a door 5. Get a journeyman quarterback. Go get your Daniel Jones. Go get your Mac Jones. Go get your whoever. Boom, that's your starting quarterback, right? I mean... Like, there's so many different variables that this thing can play. Door 6, like, there's all kind of stuff.
As Tyler Shough is starting. That's where we are right now. And you know what the beauty of it is? It's not guaranteed to be better. It's not guaranteed to be worse, but it's different. And sometimes different is good. Sometimes it's not. But at the end of the day, you have to make a change. You're not going to get change without making a change. So what happens if door number 2 doesn't work? It's the beauty of it. Door number 3, you have the number 1 overall pick right now. You get to make the top pick in the draft. You get Fernando Mendoza. You get Dante Moore. You get whoever the hell you want. And for me, I personally can see one of 2 things happening. The New Orleans Saints currently hold the number 1 overall pick. Reminder, you still have to play against the Titans. You still have to play against the Jets. You still have to play against the Dolphins. And those are teams that are going to be at the very top of the draft. And a lot of those teams are going to be quarterback needy. So when you hold the number 1 overall pick, I could see one of 3 things happening. The first one being you just trade out of it and you recoup extra draft picks because option number 1, you play good enough to roll with him. Like I said earlier, is 2 options. I kind of talked myself out of it. But
and that right there is exactly the situation. Is that when you try and put this thing into a box, when you try and put this thing into a binary, like either this can happen or this can happen, and this goes all the way back to the offseason with Rattler and Shuck, and we've tried to talk about this all year long, where it's like, just because Spencer Rattler's the starter doesn't mean he's guaranteed anything. Just because Tyler Shough was taken 40th overall doesn't mean he's guaranteed anything. Just because these guys are playing don't mean they're guaranteed anything. I used this example earlier, but it's the same thing with, you go Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, and then you go Geno Smith. 2 very different situations, but it's pretty obvious that neither situation is the long-term future for the Raiders, right? So now there will be another era. There will be another player ushered in, or another draft pick, or another trade, or another, like, however it all plays out, right? And that's the same thing with this, where it could be Rattler, it could be Shuck, it could be a top 5 pick, it could be a second round pick, could be a free agent, could be a trade. Who knows? Like, that's why instead it's not about rushing to find like which basket to put all your eggs in. It's don't put all your eggs in any basket.
Tyler Shough, option number 1 is Shuck plays good enough. And I'm not saying he plays elite, but he plays good enough for you to trust that he can be the quarterback at least for another year. And you trust that he...
How good would he have to be? Answer that in the comments below. How good would he have to be to trust that he'll be the starter next year? How much better than Spencer Rattler? Or is it the same as Spencer Rattler? And this is just completely Like, no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. How good would Shuck have to be for the remainder of this season for you to feel comfortable with rolling with him next year?
Can be the guy you roll with him as the starter next year. You draft a wide receiver to support him. You draft an edge rusher. You draft tight ends. You build around him and try to give him an opportunity to succeed. That's option number one. Option number two, Tyler Shough just shits the bed. He stinks it up, and you have the number 1 overall pick, and you draft Fernando Mendoza, who I personally think would actually be an excellent fit in Kellen Moore's offense. I think that Kellen Moore could work with Fernando Mendoza so well. It would be frustrating if the Saints moved on to a quarterback right away, considering they just used the top 50 pick on a QB. It would be an obvious that was a waste of a pick, and that's not really great in terms of optics, and you want to draft contributors with a top 50 pick. So for what it's worth, I don't think that there's anybody out there who should be rooting against Tyler Shough. If you're rooting for him to fail and you're a Saints fan, shame on you. You shouldn't care about the name on the back of the jersey. You should care about the logo right here, the name right here. That's what matters most. The New Orleans.
Yeah, don't forget the Arizona Cardinals drafted Josh Rosen, top 15, and then the next year took Kyler Murray first overall. Dog eat dog world.
Saints. Not this agenda that you have, not this belief, not these politics you want to play in terms of who should start, who got drafted where, who's making more money, who drafted who. This is football. This is how it is. Tyler Shough is now the starting quarterback, and I think that that's something that we should all rally around. When was the last time we had a quarterback taken in the top 50? Not in my lifetime. Let's have some fun with it. Let's get shucking crazy. Degeneration.
Yeah, I think you 100%. You should root for the guy, root for the team. I hope he does well, all that. But in order for him to get a fair shake at this, he's got to have fair expectations. And the fair expectation should be he's playing on the road against the Rams team coming off of a bye. Let's see what he can do. I'm rooting for him. I hope he's fantastic. I hope I always think about, like, you always see these, like, Disney movie type situations where, quarterback comes in, totally changes the team, totally changes the identity, whatever. Team goes on a run, then, that guy is the guy, right? It's like, you always wonder, like, I wonder what it was like to be a fan of that. Like, I wonder what it was like to be a fan of that team during that time. Like, it had to be crazy. And whenever these situations happen, it's always, I wonder if this is going to be the genesis of that. I wonder if this is the precipice of, like, a Tyler Shough era and all, like it's fun to think about, for sure. It's fun to think about. So I'm rooting for him. Hope he does well against the Rams. Hope he does well the rest of the way. Kellen Moore has had one hell of a start to his coaching career, all the way back from the Derek Carr stuff to the draft to the Spencer Rattler stuff to now the Tyler Shough stuff. I mean, damn, Kellen Moore has not had it easy. I'll tell you that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.